Okay, our speaker this week is our very own Rita Conrad, and she has become somebody that I count on to give us insights and wisdom that are from a really wonderful perspective. So Rita, go ahead.
Thank you, Brian. And I was doing fine until Jocelyn's reading and Richard and Janice's song, and those two just really touched me immensely. But good morning to you, my Unity 5 Cities family. When I found a home in Unity during my late 20s, life was not turning out as I had planned. You know, in your 20s, you have a lot of plans, you've got visions, you're going places, and that wasn't panning out as I had thought it would. But every Sunday, when I went to Unity of Mesa in Arizona, I knew that whatever battles I was raging, whatever was going on in my life, as soon as I left that place, everything would be resolved peacefully and lovingly. There was no doubt in my mind, because at the end of the service, there was always a reaffirmation of life and spirit in the form of the prayer protection by James Dillett Freeman. As the last phrase of the song, "Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me," as that faded, we would collectively begin the prayer. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. All is well was my baseline for the week, because I hadn't yet become aware of the power of the words I am. So at that point, all is well were the ones that empowered me. And I knew in the depths of my soul that no circumstance, no event, or anyone could be other than well in a universe where all is well. A few years later, when I purchased that prayer, I found that all is well is not a part of that prayer. And I was shocked and a bit confused by that. But for me, my personal version of that prayer, all is well, will always be a part of my personal version of that prayer. Those words recently came to me in a new form when in 2020, when we were well into the pandemic, I read a poem that had been published on January 1st, 2020 by Natalie Wise. And it is entitled, "All is New, All is Well." This year was a little rough around the edges, cold around the dawns, a little tarnished, a little blemished, a little bruised. There were shadows, true, grays and blacks and blues, but there were also me's and you's. Life is fragile and fleeting, but I am strong and solid and sold on the idea that it is also beautiful for the believers. Instead of longing, I linger. Instead of looking for words winged and rare, instead of haunting, I hunger for a world of peace and quiet. Instead of wanting, I wonder how my two hands can help. There were shadows, true, grays and blacks and blues, but there were also yeses and I do's. May next year be softer around the edges, warmer around the dawns, a little lighter, a little brighter, a little gleam. May the midnight bell ring in your heart. All is new, all is well. All is new, all is well. Let me say again, that poem was published on January 1st of 2020. It was clearly written to bid farewell to 2019, but could easily have been foreshadowing of 2020 or read at the dawning of 2021. I learned recently that even believing that all is well may not be enough to see us smoothly through times of physical or emotional crisis. That recognizing I am whole was not a reflex in me. And I came to this through experiencing a recent event during which I felt my spiritual footing slip a bit, enough to make me stop to collect myself and figure out what was going on with me. I dropped my bamboo, as Timber would probably say. One of my friends said to me before Christmas, "Rita, we've got to work on getting me well. I'm really tired of being sick." And then a few weeks later, he died. My first thought just for a split second was, I didn't do enough to help him. But I knew that was an error. It was a thought in error, and I just let it fly through, because the next message that came through was the true one. And it said, sometimes healing needs to come with a particle shift. And in this case, the body had been so ravaged by radiation to the brain, by a neurological disorder, by a massive heart attack years ago that got him the nickname Miracle Man when he pulled through it. But all those things were cumulative, that a transition was needed in order for healing to occur. And I knew the prayers are answered and healing happens, but not necessarily all on this side or in this form. But this event got me thinking, that while I may firmly believe all is well in the universe, I had yet to embed wellness and reclaim wholeness in my soul. This month, the Unity Minister, Paul Hasselbeck, has provided a couple of the daily silent Unity prayer services on Facebook. And he's brought the prayer of protection into his sessions, adding the powerful I am statements to it. So the prayer becomes, let me share my screen again. The light of God surrounds me, I am light. The love of God enfolds me, I am love. The power of God protects me, I am power. The presence of God watches over me, I am presence. Wherever I am, God is. And he ended with, know that you are the I am, which is that affirmation of wholeness and wellness. As I thought about what he said on that particular day, it made sense to me to change my personal prayer of protection to wherever I am, God is, and all is well. I am well. And this tiny change resulted in profound peace within me, and was one of the things that helped me move from remembering my friend in grief to remembering in gratitude. The other thing that helped me regain my spiritual footing was that around this same time, a spiritual teacher asked me, what's your spiritual plan? And quite frankly, I didn't have one. I mean, I didn't think I was supposed to have a spiritual plan. Aren't I supposed to roll with whatever happens and go in the flow and be in the moment? I had a spiritual practice, but that's different than a spiritual plan, because a spiritual plan has goals and tasks or activities that relate to those goals. I realized that a spiritual plan could inform the why of my daily practice and align me with the what of it. So it would provide a focus on how to evolve my spiritual practice. But I still didn't have a clue how to do that. But the answer came from one of my dear soul sisters, one of my way showers on earth, who is transforming cancer. She's transforming her life as a result of this catalyst of cancer by taking her life completely apart, almost like a watchmaker does with a fine timepiece, takes off each little piece and brushes it and cleans it and then puts it back together again. She's looking at every aspect of her life and meditating on it, forgiving, cleaning it, healing it before putting it all back together again. One day she said to me, I've decided that I'm going to start each day by asking, in what way am I turning to God? Now there's a spiritual plan for you. There's a spiritual goal right there. That thought of how we turn to God. And in fact, here's another spiritual goal from Wayne Dyer, that my goal is not to be better than anyone else, but to be better than I used to be. I can live with that goal too. But those are the goals of others. And I needed my own. Every person needs their own personal goals. No one can tell you what your goal is. So after giving it a bit more thought, I came up with these spiritual goals. That I'm connected to Source in every moment. I'm connected to my Unity family. I'm an evolving soul, and that I choose to live by Luke 12:48. You know, if for unto whom much is given, from much there is expected. And then I went through each one and aligned my spiritual practices. And this is just an example of how I listed what I do, or, you know, what I initially thought I was doing for each one of these goals. This is a process, and this helped me to see actually where I was in misalignment. There were some goals that I was doing a lot towards, and there were other goals that I didn't have anything in my spiritual practice to move towards that goal. And so it helped me rebalance what I was doing overall, and how I was expressing my wholeness, how I was maintaining my all as well. But, you know, in the event writing a plan isn't something you really have a desire to do, there are other options. Here's another example. In their book, This Life is Yours, Discover Your Power, Claim Your Wholeness, and Heal Your Life, Unity minister Linda Martello Whitsett and her daughter Alicia discuss what I call the 4 honorings. In fact, I've turned this into a small ceremony by lighting a candle and then contemplating each one of these for several moments. The first honoring is honor your past. Not living in the past, not judging the past, honoring the past, because everything you are today, who you are today, is because of all that has come to pass thus far. And in fact, the Daily Word on March 25th provided the perfect affirmation to honor your past. I am an original. I am blessed with a unique blend of talents and interests that helped me find my special place in the world. As I've traveled my path, I've learned from people I've met, places I've visited, and choices I've made. Together, my experiences have helped me shape my perspective, fuel my passions, and give meaning to my life. Like everyone, I'm a spiritual being, but I am also an individual expressing my divinity in ways that are unique to me. I am an original. And as an original, you can see why it's vital to be our authentic selves, as Christina reminded us at the beginning of this month. The second honoring is honor your feelings. Whatever you feel about a particular situation is the way you feel. No one has to understand your feelings. No one has to affirm them. They are what they are. And I read earlier this month on unity.org something that meant a great deal to me that said healing can feel complicated or overwhelming, and it's okay not to be okay. But I would add, as long as you don't stay in the not okayedness for too long of a period of time. As Brian suggested a couple of weeks ago, psychotherapy can be a helpful addition to spiritual practice in finding our way back to wellness when feeling as if you're sinking in emotional quicksand. The third honoring is honor your needs. And again, the Daily Word on March 15th was a good thing to remember when honoring your needs. That affirmation was, I am healed through the divine presence within. But it said, when I'm in need of healing, I do what is necessary to care for my body, my mind, and my spirit. I get proper rest and nutritious food. I cleanse my thoughts of worry, and I make time for devotional practices. As I commit to these activities, I create a fertile field for my healing, knowing I've done everything I can to support my health makes it easier to release my healing concerns in prayer. I claim my wholeness in prayer, knowing and feeling grateful for the divine perfection of being made in God's image and likeness. I carry this awareness with me. As I focus on wholeness, I grow in consciousness. I continue to hold thoughts of health and wholeness and do everything I can to encourage them through my choices. I am healed. And finally, the fourth honoring, honor your ability to wait. Now, this is the honoring that for all of us will have glitches, I'm sure, because none of us like to wait for anything in our lives. In fact, one of the things in our house, we have a little plaque hanging that says, "This too shall pass. Now would be good." So let us all agree that waiting may not be our preference, but it's vital that we learn to do so. Because as Linda and Alicia Whitsett write in their book, waiting encourages us to look forward, to anticipate, to get ready, instead of scurrying to do something or go somewhere in desperation. Waiting engages us in a mental exercise of positive anticipation that develops our capacity for creativity or imagination. It gives us the power to imagine success and fulfillment. Waiting is not a passive state of being that puts our lives on hold. Rather, it's a time of preparation for what comes next. All that time we spend waiting for God to act, or waiting for a sign, or waiting against hope, could be spent getting ready, cultivating a consciousness in which we can accept the good we desire. This describes my friend who's transforming cancer exactly while she recovers from each round of chemo, and it takes her 3 weeks to do that. Waiting for wellness, however it's going to manifest. She's cultivating her consciousness. Linda and Alicia go on to say, your ability to wait is an aspect of your spiritual power, your capacity for self-mastery. Choosing the way you wait is one way you demonstrate that power. By exercising self-mastery, you gain self-confidence as a whole being. You harness the power of your mind and the strengths of your spirit in service to the fullness of life. You heal any sense of something being missing, wrong, or broken. You accept the reality of wholeness as your natural state of being. You learn to ignore momentary setbacks and understand that healing is not a one-time occurrence, but rather living in a way that reconciles your human and spiritual identities. I end today with this short video, with the hope that whatever way you turn toward God, whatever your plan is to continually evolve your expression of divinity within, however you choose to honor your past, your feelings, your needs, your ability to wait, whatever you do to recognize the original you, that is wholeness, this song, I hope, may enhance your journey. And LaDawn, that's to you.
In peace, light. When peace like a river
In every moment, remember, all is new, all is well, and so it is.